Greetings and salutations, YouTubers and malefactors. We're back here at Stop Logic Motorsports and we're going to do some lights. But before we really dig into this, I want to thank Mr. John Schmidt from the CRF450RL page on Facebook, one of the three, for shipping me out some new turn signals and a tail light for this bad boy. There was another person who suggested, what are these things? Source Offroad flush mount turn signals. I've tried very hard to find the post so I could also give them credit for being helpful, but unfortunately I was unable to locate the post. But we're going to toss a set of these flush mount lights on. So as always, if you like the content, like and subscribe. If you don't, feel free to criticize me harshly. You can whip me, beat me, and probably make me write hot checks. And after the $40,000 worth of plumbing work that I've kind of alluded to in a couple of the other shorts lately, I think those checks are going to be so warm you'll be able to cook breakfast off of them. Anyways, we're going to grab a few tools for this particular job. And we're going to crack into that rear fender and away we go. So, I have yet to really take this apart in earnest. So, that is basically where we're at. Gotta dig up a couple of, dig me up a 10mm socket and maybe a Phillips head screwdriver. And we'll get right to it. Here's our 10. I'm still considering taking a trip underneath the house to do a video on that, but to be quite honest, I'm not super fired up on crawling under a house with freshly plumbed sewer lines. Especially considering what goes through those sewer lines. So, I mean, I do crawl under houses for a living whenever I have to do inspections. But I'm also getting paid to do that. I'm not paying someone $37K for the pleasure of crawling around under my own house. But we'll see. We'll see. I might still do it. Probably do it on a different channel. The motorcycle channel and home inspection stuff is kind of probably not the best match. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people who are subset interested in building inspection that watch my content, but I just don't really think that the vast majority of you guys are just like, oh my god, I want to log into a motovlogging channel to see this guy look at plumbing. But we'll see what goes on. We'll see. So, 2 10mm bolts, Phillips head screws. I haven't really taken this fender off since the bad come off at Sprocket Ranch a while back. Yeah, where I was laid up for a bit. My hand's still not quite 100%. To be honest, I've developed a new tic. When I move my finger, it feels like my wrist is kind of painfully popping. Alright. I forget if I pop this up and then if it slides forward. Yeah, it does. I think technically when you take this off, you're supposed to take these front panels off around it. I forget, as I said, I haven't taken this apart too much. Let's just come at this with reckless abandon. Ah, okay. Easy enough. He'll slide that doohickey back in the notch. The notch-a-mahoo's-it. So this actually looks like a fairly straightforward install. We've got our turn signals here. And they appear to be kind of rubber mounted to this bracket. And we got an orange and blue, which, nicely enough, these are given the same color coding. Wasn't that convenient? So it looks like these are just rubberized turn signals, and I don't frankly know how to pull them out, to be honest. Is there more to this than meets the eye? Now these appear to hold in the backlight. Yeah, I probably should have watched a video on how to remove your turn signals on this bike. But what's the point? What's the fun in that if you're not kind of blindly walking into whatever pitfalls await you? I'm gonna plop that off real fast. I think it's still 10mm. I'm confident that's a 10mm. I'll pull you guys out of the way and... Oh goodness, looks like I'm gonna have to find me a 10mm wrench. The eternal struggle of getting all of your tools whenever you're kind of still moving in. I hear my little dogs. They're a little inconsolable tonight. Their mother's gone over to a friend's house to visit, so they're, of course, being double needy. Little army of Yorkies. If you guys have Yorkies, you probably know what I mean, especially ones with separation anxiety. It's Caboose, Elvira, and Sophie. Oh goodness. I guess this is going to be a real challenge to pull off. Yep, as I suspected, there's a couple of screws back here, so beauty's a little more than skin deep in this case. Okay, so maybe there's a little more to this than I initially thought, but that's not a huge deal. Oh, come on. So you're not getting a good look at this. It's a couple of Phillips head screws here on the back of these lights. Up close and personal. I've also been listening to some more feedback about not using any wide shots for this. This is all set up linear to be a little more helpful to you guys. And I went over here. Kermit the Frog here. We all know Kermit's the OG. Alrighty. Okay, so what do we got going on from here? That's peeled off of there. The screw's out. In theory, these bad boys should just pop straight out. Okay, what else is holding this back here? Oh, these pop out. Oh ho ho! Whew, a little toasty in here. Whew. 1 second, guys. Had to ditch the hoodie real fast. It was a little warmer than I was expecting. Okay. So those are locked down onto okay, so the little tab there you peel up. Let me fetch this little dude out of here. So these little backing bits, bacon bits, basically lock into these blinkers like so. And it's looking like these just completely plug up that space. And then you just fasten them on. Not a ton of directions. But I'm gonna keep these handy. Alright, so we have one proper turn signal. I'm going to grab this backing deal here and kind of see what this is all about. Looks like I'm going to need to also find a Allen wrench that fits. Sir Allen's wrench. Too small. Maybe 3 will do the trick. Yep. So a number 3 metric Allen wrench. Alright, so we got this blank spot here. I'm going to feed the light through, and I'm going to assume that we're going to go in like so. And by the way, there's not a lot of instructions on these. Actually, there's not really any instructions whatsoever. You kind of have to draw your own conclusion. So you'll orient this thing, tab out it looks like with this little hex bit on the inside. Of course, plenty of room to work and stab it in there without any sort of issues of having to find the space to put your fingers in there or anything like that. Alright, so basically I'm kind of stabbing it into place and just wiggling it in there with my finger. Take the Allen bit and slide it in. I'm going to try just tightening the dickens out of this thing so it doesn't come out. Alright, so that seems to be the challenging portion of this. Then we just feed the light in. Actually, it seems like the other challenging portion is getting this gasket bit in here. So CRF Offroad, it'd probably be awesome to have a little bit of direction with this. Not that I'm really complaining, this is kind of an intriguing product, but if you guys are relying on my video as a how to do this, I think there's going to be a lot of frustrated people. Alright, so we're pretty much oriented in place. Connect this to the little snappy bit, and we're gonna do a little test and see if this... Whoa, that's bright. And it sure does flash quickly. So there's apparently a resistor I would need to get for this. I don't know why it's needing a resistor, because this is a LED, artist formerly known as an LED bulb being replaced with an LED bulb, but apparently if you want it to flash slower, you need to put a resistor in. Well, whatever. I'll just deal. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the power though. I'm going to get this second one in here. Oh goodness, my dogs are just having a field day. Alrighty, got this plastic bit in here that you can just peel out from the original turn signal assembly. You're going to want to keep those because I think they will be handy later. If you ever want to go back to your original turn signals. You have your little blue hickey here. Let's give it a little lift. A little lift and a tug. Right out. Meanwhile, at the Goo Lagoon. Alright, here's our deformed turn signal. So, we'll put that in the box's maybe pile. Maybe I'll put it back on in the future. Maybe I'll just forget about it. It's probably a very strong maybe. We have blank plate number 2, which I'm sure will be as fun to orient as the first one. Alright, slap it in, large side to rear, snake your fingers in there blindly and hope that you can push it out of the deal. Alright, 1 second. I think I largely got lucky with the first one. You know, I used to curse having small hands when I was a bass player, but working on Japanese dirt bikes, I've actually learned to love my tiny hands. Not tiny, but I have short fingers. Playing anything with a 4-string bass was like a huge challenge for me. maybe there's an easier way to do this. Let's try a little experiment. We're going to just barely thread this bad boy in. And then we're going to snake it on the inside of this. Okay, so let's pay attention to this. Barely thread it in to where it's just hanging there. Make sure your washer's on the outside. Let's pop it into place. Okay, that is a much easier way of doing that. Well, you know what they say, you learn through malpractice, not practice. Ugh. So, alright, there's our trick to it. We probably need to make it a point to bookmark that in the video where you see me find a smarter way of doing something instead of just continuing to struggle with fumbling in the dark. Now if you want to put an in-load resistor, I think Source Off-Road actually has like a plug-in resistor to get these things to flash the normal rate that your turn signals used to flash. I don't rightfully know. I don't claim to know. I just basically ordered just the bare minimum of what I needed to make this work, which is the rear blinkers. I honestly like having large front blinkers to let people know, where I stand. Really to let oncoming traffic know that I'm going to be turning. I find it actually quite helpful to have clear indication front-facing traffic, as those are the folks that are most likely going to pull in front of you and make your day a rather unhappy one. Okay, let's see. I don't know exactly what's the optimal way to orient these. They seem like they're pretty bright in every direction, so I'm just basically turning the score marks as close to flat as possible. Hook this bad boy up. I'm going to slide these two wiring harnesses back on the Honda post, which I will say, this is actually kind of an intelligent design. It's not Yamaha levels of intelligent, you know, where everything is purposely made to be able to remove it from one side. I mean, I can't give Honda engineers that much credit. It's still harder to work with than a Yamaha, but I mean, a fangirl over Yamaha, but to be quite honest, when it comes to working on something, that's my preference to work on something. And basically we just reverse the order and put everything back together. So I'm sure you guys want to just sit here and watch me fiddle with putting between 6 and 8 bolts back in. But I also figure you guys have other things to do with your evenings. So we're going to go ahead and just give it a little test. And then call it. Alright, Source Off-Road blinkers. Very fastly blinking. But also both working like a charm, and they're not going to get melted. They also have front replacement blinkers too if you want flush mount. These run about $64 a piece shipped or whatnot. 64 in tax, something like that. Not too bad. I mean, it's not a set of eBay special or Amazon special blinkers. I mean, you know, you're not going to be paying 17 bucks. Then again, also, you're not going to be swapping these things out every month and buy a whole order in bulk like I used to. So, let's take that into consideration. I have a few videos kicking around my channel of me using the Amazon blinkers and going, why am I replacing these again? They just took some gentle shaking and now they're dead. The LEDs would literally fall off in them. You could hear it sound like a little, what is that thing called? maracas. Here I am. I think it's some maracas. Or babies rattle. Here I'm Mr. one of the few Spanish speakers at work, and I can't remember the I think it is a maraca. I believe it's maraca. Feel free to correct me in the comments section. I'm not trying to be, you know, purposely socially inept. I'm just being accidentally socially inept. I think it's maracas. But yes, I could be wrong. Anywho, let's enjoy that beautiful bean footage one more time. Bush's baked beans. That is looking quite slick and sharp. Alright. Well, anyhow, if you like the content, like and subscribe. If you don't, feel free to criticize me harshly. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully I'll be riding again soon, and I won't have people tunneling a bunch of stuff under my house like Saul and Noel, man. Have a good one.